Hello and welcome to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Reminder, we're streaming live on Sportsnet's YouTube channel and airing live on Sportsnet 360, Monday to Friday from 2 to 3 p.m. Make sure you find the Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe and please rate and review our show. I'm your host, Olu, and I am joined in the first segment by Mo Dakhil, one of my favorite people on basketball Twitter. Mo, how you doing?
I'm doing great. Will, how about yourself?
I'm doing well, just trying to get through my workday of not watching the World Cup. Currently 0-0 between Poland and Argentina. We'll see what happens to Messi today. His legacy is on the line once again. Mo, I know you're a big soccer fan too, so I'm sure you've been taking in the World Cup.
I take it in when I can. I'm not getting up early for a game. Let me just put it to you that way. On the West Coast, it's pretty early, so
right.
I usually wake up and go, "Oh, there's soccer on. Let me put this on." Minus the Team USA, which I'll be tested with a 7 a.m. start on Saturday. That's going to be tough.
Oh, I mean, that's a good result for you guys. I thought you guys actually, I don't know. In Canada, obviously, we're a little disappointed. 2 losses so far. We're already out. I think we were the first team out. But, no, USA actually looking kind of decent, even though I think it probably just has to do with the group in a way. But at the same time, congrats to you guys with the win last night. Okay, let's talk about basketball, because to be honest, I don't think people are here to hear us talk about soccer.
Or we'll get eviscerated for our soccer takes.
Wow. Speaking of getting eviscerated for takes, Mo, all right, we have to get off. We have to get to something at the very top here, because you came on the show October 18th and you gave 2 takes. All right, this is your chance to apologize, because you know how Raptor fans are. We're very petty. We'll attach ourselves to every little comment. So you made 2 comments. One, you did say it wouldn't shock you if the Raptors found a new home for OG Anunoby. Just to, not saying he's not a good player, but just to balance out the roster. And then you also said that Pascal doesn't always draw double teams, which I also, don't agree with. But, again, Mo, I just want to give you the space at the top of the show before Raptor fans hear the rest of this conversation. Do you want to take any of those things back?
Well, first, I thought I'd never be invited back after the way the Raptor fans reacted. I was like, I might be banned now. This might be a whole thing. Listen, at the start of the season, at the start of the season, I don't take back the thought of they might have to look to trade OG Anunoby to add pieces to this team. The way he's playing now, you can't trade him.
Yes,
right. He's phenomenal. It's that's the way the season goes, right? On October 18th, you can have a thought of something, and then the way he plays changes that, and that's perfectly fine with in that segment. I still think, I made a mistake in the way I phrased it. Of OG Anunoby doesn't get doubled a lot or doesn't command a double team. It's not. It's in your prep for a team. Is the way I mean it. Is they're not looking at it going like, hey, if he gets going, then we're going to double him. But let's see how it goes right away. There's not a lot of teams that are coming out straight away. We got to double and get the ball completely out of his hands right away and make somebody else beat us. And that's kind of where I said it. So I misspoke a little bit there. But also, some of you guys don't remember that I was the one saying this team was a top 6 team last season. And some people were acting like I'm just always anti-Raptors. I'm not, Will. I love the Raptors.
Oh, you don't understand. The Raptor fandom, people will flip, quickly, very, very quickly. So I think after hearing this, I think people will be back on your side.
I doubt it, but I'm sure I'll say something else.
No, but come on, Mo is one of the best people on that Bird app about.
You go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself.
No, but seriously though, you're one of the best people on basketball Twitter. This is why we keep having you on. And look, listen, putting the Raptors aside, because look, the Raptors are healthier. There's a couple of things they're doing, and I'm sure we'll touch on those. But because it's the quarter mark of the season, I actually looked at the standings for the first time this year. And obviously a lot's going to change. I think the big thing is just obviously tons of teams are jumbled, right? When I'm looking at the standings here, so many teams in the Eastern Conference within 2 games of 500 or just straight up at 500 like the Brooklyn Nets are. But a couple things are standing out. Obviously, number one, the Celtics and the Bucks. No surprise here, but they're the class of the Eastern Conference. To me, they look head and shoulders above everyone else, and we can kind of start there. If you had to pick one team between those two right now, who are you looking at as the class of the East? Because there's not that much to separate them, right? Because I think obviously they played that 7 game series. You know, Milwaukee has the card of, well, Chris Middleton wasn't healthy. Boston has the card of, well, we actually beat you. So Mo, I'll ask you right there, like right now, obviously those are the class of the East, but between those two, who do you like more right now?
I still think I'm gonna go with Milwaukee, but it's so slim. Like, honestly, if you asked me this question in like 2 hours, I could probably have a different answer.
Okay.
It's what should scare the rest of the Eastern Conference is the Celtics are doing this with a very average defense, and that defense will probably get better whenever they get Robert Williams back, and assuming he could stay healthy. And the Bucks are doing this with a pretty pedestrian offense,
Mm,
and they're on pace to get Chris Middleton back here shortly. So, they're the way these two teams are playing and killing it without two major pieces is something the rest of the East should be concerned about. When I look at the Bucks, I just think the way Giannis just kind of melts teams, and just runs through teams. And then if you add a healthy Middleton and he comes back right, I think that team in the half court gets better. And I think that's one of those things you're watching for, and you go, it's going to be extremely difficult. And that's not to say Boston can't beat them in a series when both sides are fully healthy. I think it's just going to be another 7 game series and another classic for us.
yeah. It is. It's definitely going to be a classic, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing it again because hopefully everyone's just healthy for that one. The numbers on Boston right now, and I think a lot of people have touched on this, but it's absurd. The Celtics have 8 guys shooting 40% or better from three. Like by comparison, the Raptors have one guy doing that right now, and it's Malachi Flynn, who's obviously not even playing that much, especially when guys are healthy. The Celtics are making 16.7 threes per game. As a comparison, the Warriors with KD, the 3 years they had him, that was KD, Steph, and Clay. They averaged 12 threes per game in 2017, 11, and then 13 in 2018 and 2019. So the Celtics are literally above that super team version of the Warriors with 3 of the greatest shooters of all time at the moment. Yeah, what do you think is behind that? Like, why do you think the Celtics are just shooting that well from three?
I think one is they're getting so many more open looks with just their drive and kick game.
Mm,
I think when you're watching it, it's Tatum's creating a ton. Besides Smart, Tatum creates a ton. Brown creates a ton with just their drive and kick opportunities. You have Brogdon coming off the bench, another creator in everything like that. They're just getting a ton of open looks, and these guys are good shooters. I think that number will go down. Obviously, it's pretty insane that they're the rate they're shooting now. I can't imagine that lasting all season.
mm.
But this would be a phenomenal feat for a team to be as a team be a 40% 3-point shooting team. It'd be pretty impressive. But I think guys like Al Horford will probably hit a little bit of a skid and things like that. But ultimately, when you watch this team offensively, they play so well and so together as a group. It's something that you watch it. This is what they were doing at the start of last season.
Yeah.
Watching it this year, it's really like it's kind of just has you in awe when you watch them of how well they move the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of what was the old Spurs thing about like 0.5, right? You make a decision of whether you're gonna pass, shoot, or drive in 0.5 seconds, and the ball doesn't really stick. I mean, like the Celtics obviously will give the ball to Tatum and Brown and let them attack and let them create, but as soon as that ball comes out to the perimeter to some of the role players, they never hold on to the ball. It's actually kind of amazing. They always are getting open corner threes, which is it's definitely going to help her percentage. Yeah, they're a really tough team. I'm really looking forward to when the Raptors sort of face up against them because I think that the Raptors obviously are going to be really creative with their defenses, but at the same time, the Celtics right now are just on another level offensively. Yeah, Milwaukee's really terrifying, right? Especially when Brook Lopez can play like at this level, right? Because when you think about the Raptor fans here, we're starting to do the very very early campaigning for OG Anunoby Defensive Player of the Year. I think to me the other favorite, if you had to pick one, would be Brook Lopez.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the key for the Bucks is just how healthy Brook Lopez is, right? Like the
Yeah.
way he's able to move, it opens up so many opportunities and defensively he's able to take on guys and really kind of he's kept them afloat, besides Giannis, I think, in this early start of the season. And I think that's the thing that kind of has caught everybody's eye is, yeah, he's definitely looking like a potential defensive player of the year. OG Anunoby's looking like one as well. I
Mhm.
think there's a few other candidates that we're going to have to start keeping an eye on, but it's those two guys right there at the top. And if Lopez can stay healthy, it goes a long way for this team. I mean, his ability to move, he's been battling back issues. You know,
Yeah.
when you have those issues, it really hampers your mobility, and him being able to have that mobility early on, it's a problem. It's scary for other teams because he's able to move around, and then it allows Giannis to play free safety, which, like, good lord, man.
Yeah.
You
I know.
you have you have Inspector Gadget with his
Uh,
go-go stretch arms playing on the weak side coming over. Like, come on, man. Like, that's tough. And I feel that way about the Raptors defense too, in the sense of like, God, all these wings
mhm.
with incredible wingspan, like just getting the ball up the court is a challenge against Toronto, but scoring in the paint against Milwaukee's a challenge for the same reason.
It's basically it's basically impossible. I mean, obviously they really stack their defenses, right? They play a lot of drop coverage, but to the point about Lopez, I've been really impressed because obviously him not being available for so much of last season really hampered their chances. They were still very successful because they still have Giannis and some pretty other good players there, but. Just watching Brook these days. I mean, I was watching their game against the Cavs, where the Cavs got off to like a great start. They were hitting a lot of threes, and they were up like double digits in the first half. And then and then the Bucks just ran them over. I think Giannis might have had like 8 end-to-end dunks. Brook Lopez was hitting threes. Javon Carter comes in and nails tough shots, even though you never really expected offense from him in the past. And yeah, even just watching Lopez in that game, like he gets down in a stance and he's low and he's in a he's crouching for a guy who's 7 foot tall and he's actually getting low and playing great defense to corral both the ball handler and the roller. Like, yeah, if he manages to stay healthy, which is a big if, he's 34 years old, but if he manages to stay healthy, then that's the Bucks team that won the championship.
I mean, he has mastered drop coverage, and I think
Yeah.
that's the ultimate thing. Is he really has gotten to the point now where he knows when to really step up in drop coverage and when to continue to hang back, and I think that's kind of the big difference in in that end for them, and that's why their defense is just so damn good.
Yeah. And of course, when they get Middleton too, I mean, he's not a bad defender. And obviously he's so talented offensively. It does feel like it's taking a while for him to come back, but I guess they have literally no need to rush him whatsoever. So what happens? This is a luxury you have as a championship team. And it's like, yeah, whether we have him or not, it doesn't really matter. Like Grayson Allen to hit 7 threes or Javon Carter will come in and give you a 30 piece. Like it doesn't really make sense, but they're just able to roll by. I mean, when you're looking at the rest of the conference, there's a couple of teams. I would say probably Brooklyn. Now that they're playing a lot more cohesively, I think they're sort of making a push. Obviously, Philadelphia, Toronto, Atlanta, Cleveland. Maybe if you want to be generous, include Miami in that mix. Although I don't think they're the same team as last year. Yeah, I mean, any of those teams, like, is there a move that those kind of teams can make, or is there some sort of jump that those teams can sort of try to develop into? Because right now, it's looking very much like we're gonna have a repeat of Boston and Milwaukee as the top of the conference.
Well, I think it's just you said it at the start. The how compact everything is. It's a 3.5 game difference from third place in the Eastern Conference to 12th. Like that's absurd,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
there's been really no separation within that mix. So you have a bad week, you can go from being a potential playoff team to okay, we're looking at the lottery.
yeah.
It's that simple, and it's gonna be tight. I feel like this is gonna be a mashup of teams like, one team you didn't mention, Washington,
Mhm.
surprising everybody with how well they're playing.
Yeah,
Porzingis has been awesome with everything that he's doing and defense. And again, another guy that's looking really healthy and upright. I think you I think when you talk about like what moves can teams do, I think there's gonna be a question for a lot of these teams as we get closer to the trade deadline, and we know the rumors will start to pick up around December 15th. When we get closer to around that point, the teams are gonna have to decide, are they buyers or sellers?
hmm
And,
hmm
like I never discount Miami just for the pure fact if they find a way to make a trade with absolutely garbage
yeah.
and get like players.
Well, they signed Jimmy
Like
Butler
when
with like no cap space that year.
I mean they
You know
they
what I
got
mean?
Jimmy Butler and it cost them Josh Richardson.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Like, okay, it's like, all right, well, we can talk about the Kyle Lowry, and maybe that deal hasn't panned out as well as they would have liked so far,
Yeah,
although he's been playing great.
yeah, yes.
But again, and Precious Achua has been awesome for the Raptors, but still, like, didn't cost them so much,
No.
in that sense. And I think you're looking at it from this team. I just don't discount Riley, but all these teams can a small tweak and they could shoot up
Mhm,
in the
mhm.
rankings. Just the right opportunity, lightning in the bottle, schedule lines up properly, and they get going. I'll be interested to see what happens with Brooklyn because you're right, they're playing better. Simmons went out and didn't finish the game against Orlando. I think it was an ankle, and we'll have to see if he can kind of stay healthy. But I want to see if their defense can stay up to snuff when Kyrie Irving's playing way more minutes.
Yeah.
Because with him on the floor, your defense is just going to suffer.
Yeah, but you know what? I am seeing more commitment on that. And I think Jock Vaughn's actually done a good job of just like keeping that team calm, right? Obviously, they were probably the most hectic team at the start of the season. It was like somehow they won
Probably.
up the Lakers.
They're-
Yeah, you're right. There's no probably there.
They were the most hectic team in all of sports almost.
Yeah.
It's a competition between them and the Browns. I think it was just chaos.
Yeah. No, but I think Jacques has gotten at least to just focus on playing basketball. I think Royce O'Neal has actually been a really nice support piece for them. Obviously, Utah stepped up for them before he got hurt. And then the rest of the team, like obviously they can score, and you know KD gives them such a high base when he's healthy, and he's been that this season. And you know they're not a fun team to go up against. The Raptors already lost twice against them. Yeah, I mean you mentioned Washington. I mean Washington and Indiana are kind of like the fly in the ointments for me when I'm looking at the standings here because I'm just like. I wasn't expecting for them to be in the Raptors range. In the Pacers case, they beat the Raptors as well. But you know they're 12-8, and this is a team that a lot of people coming into the season probably thought, well, you know they're probably gonna tank. Who knows? You know this is like the Pacers embracing the tank for the first time, and then all of a sudden they're 12-8. You know they have like 7 guards in the rotation, and they're all good. They fire threes. You know Tyrese Halliburton hasn't turned the ball over in like a month. Feels like.
It's been unbelievable.
Yeah, like
40 assists and no turnovers.
That's one of the most ridiculous stats I've actually seen from any guard. But seriously though, like what's the deal here? Like are they going to continue to be this competitive throughout the season between Indiana and Washington? Because right now they're in playoff spots.
Yeah, I mean, they're one of those teams that have to decide, like, hey, are we actually going to be sellers? Because Buddy Hield and Miles Turner were on the block forever
Yeah.
for this team, you know, and they have to decide, are we going to actually be sellers or let's go with it? And I think as long as they're in the top 6 range, I think they got to stay with what they got. I think they're getting great sort of connectivity amongst the team. I mean, Halliburton's an all-star, and if he's not, it's going to be criminal this year.
Yeah.
I think the what you're watching from this team, you're getting good play from guys like rookies, Benedict Mathurin. You know, they're playing well together, and they understand that the only way they're going to play is together. You don't get a lot of stuff where it's like, wow, that's really selfish or really one-on-one play from them,
Yeah.
and things like that. And they don't have enough talented guys to play that way. So the way they're playing is unbelievable. They defend, man. They defend so hard and so well. I watched them play the Lakers and, you know, overcome a 17-point deficit in the fourth quarter. Part of it was the Lakers playing like morons, but also
I mean
that was the Pacers completely capitalizing on everything and making every big play after that. Like this is a team that you watch and you just say like, man, they got a lot of talent and a lot of good basketball players. Benedict Mathurin is a guy I think he's going to win Rookie of the Year and potentially Sixth Man of the Year. And I think you watch this team, and I just say, like, I'm with you. I had no expectations of this team
none. Yeah.
to do this. And now I'm like, man, like, this is a team that might be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean Indiana's an interesting team to me to watch because they're like one of the more they're so distant from the way the Raptors, you know, build their team, right? You got Halliburton, you got Mathurin, Buddy Hield's in that rotation. He's a big part of it. Duarte, he's starting to get back healthy. He's another guard. Neesmith has been playing. He's a guard. TJ McConnell, Andrew Nembhard, like the Raptors at best play 2 guards in the rotation, right? And this is a team that's, you know, if the Raptors are all forwards, like this team is mostly all guards. Like, yeah, I think Turner does a really good job of, you know, holding down the paint, and obviously they need him to do that, right? Which is probably going to be one of the bigger hesitations for them is like, you know, if we have a good team here, let's be real, this is Indiana. If we have a good team, we're not just going to trade all that for a 2029, you know, Lakers pick in some sort of far off kind of scenario when we're in a playoffs mode and there's good vibes around the team. You know, it's interesting, right? Because you're not seeing that kind of team build of late where teams kind of going on guards. Like across the league, teams are kind of building these like freakish tall ball teams the way OKC's doing it, the way the Raptors are doing it, the way Orlando's doing it. I mean, that's interesting to you, right? Like the fact that they've gone in this direction where it's like 6-7 guards in the rotation and they're just killing it from the 3-point line.
And they're capitalizing on that. all right, you guys aren't going to take all these good guards. Cool, we'll take the good guards.
Mm.
And I think that's something that's an interesting sort of view of it, and I think we always praise the teams that zig when everybody else is zagging. That's kind of what they're doing and how they're building. It's not that different than Cleveland last year playing big, right? I mean,
Yeah.
they were the ones that made Laurie Markkinen a three, excuse me.
Yeah.
And I think that's something you're going like, wow, that's interesting. I don't know if he could hold up. And then sure enough, held up pretty well all last season. I think when you're a team like Indiana, you need to find ways to compete. It's so hard to always just say, we're going to find all the wings. And let's be honest, Toronto's had a head start. They've been doing this for quite a while in terms of finding all these long wings. I think the area of need for them is at some point they are going to need a wing to compete and so on. But right now, with the way they're set up, there's no reason to rush anything. I think even trading Turner, which might be something that they might do at the deadline because they don't think they could re-sign him, so they get something for him. But even then, there's no reason to shake anything up with how good this team's playing right now. They got a great vibe around them.
Yeah. No, they really do. And I think it really helps to have a number one guy like Halliburton who is so happy making plays. Like, it really helps the team culture, I think, too, because your number one guy isn't just a guy who's trying to put up 30 and get themselves to the All-NBA team for the first time or, get themselves a max contract. I think his approach to the game is actually really refreshing. Plus, he's just he has great vision. I mean, you look at that game winner where he kind of get that quote after the game. He's like, yeah, I have 4 seconds left. I drove in. I looked in the right corner. AD was kind of there, and he might have made a hard closeout. Then I looked in the paint, and LeBron was digging in because AD was about to stunt out to the 3-point line. And so, therefore, I pivoted on my left foot and then threw a cross-court pass to Nembhard for the open 3 in the game winner. I'm like, damn, you really process all of that? In I don't know, 2 seconds? That's
It's amazing. But
yeah,
that's
special.
That's the difference between the great guards. Right, being able to see that and understand what they're seeing and where the ball needs to go based on that information and being able to do it so quickly. That's the difference.
Yeah. So a couple of teams in the East that have made not all-in moves, but big moves, obviously, to try to improve themselves and climb up a tier. Atlanta, Cleveland, and I will include New York in this because obviously they moved heaven and earth to get Jalen Brunson. And by the way, he's done really well for the Knicks, and the Knicks are 500 right now. Just a game under. Yeah, what do you think the returns are on some of those teams? Do you think, obviously, I think Cleveland's pretty happy. I think they're probably the closest one to jumping into that top tier, but I still think until they get a proper small forward, I just saw Isaac Okoro shoot 1 of 11 from the field. Until they get a proper small forward, I'm not going to be putting them in that top tier status just yet. But yeah, I mean, those teams made big moves, and so far, I mean, do you think they're happy with what they're getting?
I think if you're Cleveland, you're ecstatic because I think this is a team that's a year away, maybe 2. But you're right; they got a hole at the swing spot, and they just need to find a viable 3-and-D guy. And I think they're right at that next level. Ultimately, I just think they're a team that's they're just too young right now. Still, I still want to see they need to make the playoffs and have a full experience. Last year they get in the play-in tournament, they lose.
Yeah.
They need to make a experience the playoffs and so on. And the most important thing is Donovan Mitchell is great for them being the closer down the stretch. I think they have everything they need just minus that swing spot. Once they figure that out,
yeah, then
they'll be good. Then they'll be good to go. But right now it's probably a year too early for them. I think if you're the Hawks, I mean, I'm disappointed in the Hawks.
Yeah.
And really what disappoints me more than anything else is the lack of creativity from Nate McMillan and his coaching staff.
Yeah.
My concern when they traded for DeJounte Murray, and everybody went nuts when they got Murray and we're like, this is going to be great. They're going to be awesome. They're going to be one of the top teams in the East. I said, man, it can't be your turn, my turn. And that's exactly how they play on offense right now. There needs to be more interaction and more playing off of each other between Murray and Young than we've seen so far. That's the only way it works is if they play off of each other and work with each other, running pistol actions or running movements and screening for each other, and then finding a way to incorporate John Collins. I just think the way they're playing right now, I'm like, this is a team that's probably where they're at, a 500 team. And then the Knicks, listen, they're several pieces away, but the first big piece they got is Jalen Brunson.
He's been
And we've
great.
seen the dividends, right?
Yeah.
When you have a competent point guard, we've seen the difference of what it looks like.
Yeah, I'm actually, weirdly enough, like I actually really like Knicks fans. I think they really, because they're so used to losing, like any little bit of winning they get, they really appreciate it. It's actually very sweet to see. And I think when you see like just the type of point guards that New York has sort of put out there over the years, you know, like aside from Jeremy Lin for a couple of weeks, like it's just been such a struggle for them. And so to have Jalen Brunson, who is a really good point guard, I mean, you maybe even debate if he's top 10 NBA point guards. This season, I think he is. But even just having that level of player, like they're just cherishing him so much. I'm seeing a lot of Jalen Brunson stan accounts, which is again very adorable. Yeah, I mean the Atlanta thing though, that's the one that's disappointing to me. I mean, like, look, the Raptors lost them because Scottie missed that layup, and also because the Raptors put one of the worst full court traps I've ever seen.
What were they doing, man?
Yeah,
what were they doing? Keep the ball in front of you.
It didn't make any sense. I thought the only guy who did their job in that possession was probably Thad Young, just because you wanted to deny the pass initially to Trey, which I'm fine with that idea because you have a 5-on-4 advantage because no one was guarding the ball or guarding the inbound. But yeah, I don't know. That possession made no sense, absolutely. But I mean, like the Raptors should have beaten them twice already. And just watching them from afar, it's just like the fact that they're 30th in attempt rate for threes, the fact that they're 22nd in offensive rating, and you know, like Trey's so talented, but even when the Raptors played them, he was just trying to drive the ball like prime, you know, Russell Westbrook or John Wall, and he's very good at getting downhill. He's got that little floater game. He's got the lob to Capella, but it just, as you mentioned, like it's just the creativity there offensively is just not there. And
I mean, the big problem is Trey Young wants to play like James Harden. He wants the ball in his hands the whole time, and like Luka, wants to dominate the ball the whole time, wants to run pick and roll and then create everything for everybody. It's not going to pan out for them.
Yeah.
And maybe it sucks. He's small. There's a big difference between the size of James Harden and Luka Doncic, who get to the line a ton off of it and everything. And not to say that he doesn't, but the size of it makes it much more difficult. They're way more physical than he is with how they play and everything that goes with it. He needs to incorporate his teammates more. He needs to play a little bit more like Steph. I'm not saying abandon the pick and rolls, but he needs to set screens to get open. He needs to find other opportunities, running off pin downs and things like that. I'm just disappointed when I watch this offense. I look at it going like, you guys are doing the same things you did last year, and you're putting DeJounte Murray in the corner. He's not a good three-point shooter.
No.
You live with that if you're the defense. Cool. I'm going to crowd the paint. If he's going to shoot corner threes, all right, it's not ideal, but I'd rather that than give up dunks to Capella or floaters to Young or threes and things like that. I think that's kind of the problem that they're playing with.
Yeah. No, it's that one's disappointing so far, even though I think, you know, they did start the season well and they were above 500. But when you just look at them, you know, they're siding up late. And also there's that weird little immaturity with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, well, it's not like I thought Trey Young and like DeJounte Murray were like grizzled veterans who always do the right thing, because they're kind of far from that. But like, I don't know. I'm just like, you guys are really like starting beasts with the Houston Rockets. The Houston Rockets are like AAU team. What are you doing?
But
And
not
then you
even
lose.
that. They sit there and start right. They sit there and try to clown the Rockets and then blow the lead.
Yeah.
They blow a lead against Miami to start the second half. Miami completely ran them off the court in the second half. They blow a lead against Philly, who had everybody out except Joel Embiid, basically.
Yep.
And you're watching them, and I'm just going, you guys, like, there's a level of being more aware of the moment and how to do things. It's the immature is one way to put it, but I also just think in general they just lose their focus.
Yeah.
Like they felt like they had these games in hand and they just completely blew it.
Yeah. Fair enough. All right, Mo. Appreciate you. I think you know, Raptor fans, we should all forgive Mo. Because truly, you're just one of the guys on Twitter who are like, you're not trying to offer hot takes. Obviously, you have observations and all that stuff, but you watch the film really closely. It's you learn a lot just from following your account and just watching the little clips that you put out there. Your Twitch streams are pretty good. I've checked those out as well. And yeah, you know, like, look, at the start of the season, OG was a bit of a trade candidate, and then he played really well, and now no one's ever going to try to trade OG. Like, you know,
He
that's
played
how the league
himself
goes.
out of it. He played himself out of it and into potential defensive player of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just reading The Land on October 18th. Now I'm reading it again here on November 30th.
There we go. All right, Mo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a break right here. I'm your host, Walu, and you're listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Welcome back to the Raptors Show. Welcome back to the Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. I'm your host, Wolu, joined by producer and co-host Alex Wong, the second segment, who has been kind enough to take over point duties as we look to wrap up the show here in 20 minutes. Alex, what's going on, man? Nice new haircut, by the way.
Yeah,
Cool.
shouts to my barber, Hannah.
Yeah,
Promised her a shout out on Friday's show, but then realized I'm not going to be here on Friday.
right.
So can I leave a note in the doc? Can you just shout her up?
Yeah, no
up top?
problem.
Yeah.
It's good, man. You look younger, which is good.
Thanks, yeah.
You never really look that old, to be honest. But
Yeah.
You do look younger.
Yeah, it's like, 38. Can you do something for me?
Oh, bro.
Hey, have you checked your Spotify Wrapped? Are you one of those people?
I did check my Spotify Wrapped.
Okay.
Yeah. You want my Spotify Wrapped results?
Yeah, I think people would love to hear more about your life.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna turn off the sound on my phone.
Yeah.
What do you want? My top artists?
Yeah,
My
I would,
top
I
podcasts? What do
would
you
love
want?
to hear your top artists.
Okay, this Spotify is freezing on me now. That's
Oh
okay.
man.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
in the
tough.
meantime, shouts to everyone who posted that the Raptor Show is their top podcast that they
Yo.
listen to. Shouts to
That's how I knew that the Spotify rap had come back around because I literally woke up to like 20 messages of people being like, "Hey, this is the show I listened to the most this year, and it's amazing." And it was really cool to see, man.
no,
honestly.
super appreciative. Shouts to Superfan at Sentimental Egg on
Yo,
Twitter,
shout out.
aka DJ Wilson fan account. And now she's rebranded as Coloco propaganda account as well. So shouts to Raptors fans doing double duty. Happy
Oh.
hump day. 29,374 minutes.
Yes,
Spotify said she listened to the Raptor
That's the
Show
line
for.
from Rent.
Oh, yo, I know that song. That song's heat.
Seasons of Love.
Yeah.
right there.
So, shouts to all the fans out there keeping us top of the charts.
By the way,
number one basketball
29,000
podcast.
minutes is like roughly 20 days.
Yeah.
20 days of
Yeah.
listening to us.
How
That's
many-
almost a month.
How many marathons do you think that is? That's a lot of marathons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the Banter Pod alone is one marathon.
Yeah.
2 marathons for some people, actually.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate everybody.
Okay, so I finally got Spotify to work.
Oh, thank you.
My top artist this year, FKJ, as you know, big fan of FKJ.
Mm.
Drake.
Okay, yeah. Why are you saying like no one's heard of Drake?
You know Drake? Nux. You know Nux?
No.
All right. Big tunes out of the UK.
Okay.
Anders. I don't even know how Anders made it on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a very eclectic person, man. I
Yeah,
try to
yeah,
tell
yeah.
people this. People think you're just basketball. Like,
No,
it's
no.
not true.
There's some strange songs on here. I'm
Ask
not gonna lie to
Will about like world history. He knows about the backstory of like every country.
you.
Ask him about different foods, like, even different sports. You've been talking
Sure.
soccer nonstop.
No, I have been talking soccer nonstop.
Yeah.
Oh, is that Messi? Did Messi get the penalty here?
Oh, God.
Oh, brother.
Anyways,
I know Derek's in the back ready to hate.
shouts to Brandeo.
Yeah,
Let's see.
he's already hating. He says it's not a pen.
Let's see what we've got for hump day news items.
Oh, by the way,
yeah, what's up?
For the Spotify thing, they tell you your breakdown between music and podcasts.
Okay.
Oh, Spotify. Oh my God, no. Messi bricked it.
Live
No
World Cup
way.
reactions. This is what people.
No way.
This is what people are here for. Yeah.
No way. He bricked it.
Oh man.
That's tough. Great save by Chesney though. But
Yeah, great
no, seriously
segment.
though, like, are you more of a podcast person or a music person?
I think I'm like 50-50.
Really?
Yeah, I
Damn.
gotta be honest.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like 80% podcast.
Really?
It was like,
Okay.
your favorite artist is FKJ and you like Drake, but guess what? You like David Thorpe and True much more.
Nah, man. They said you listening to OVO Thorpe.
Yo, honestly,
You listening to OVO Low?
no, I'm not-
OVO
no.
Windhorse?
Of course, those are all in the top. Those are all in the top 5,
Yo,
man.
what's going on, man?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
No, it was like I listened to 50,000 minutes.
yeah.
It was like 8,000 was music.
Yeah.
And then 42 was podcasts.
Well, here's the thing with podcasts too, and I guess you don't do this with music. Is podcasts you can play it at the faster speeds.
that is true.
Right?
Yeah.
Like I don't know what your standard speed is.
1.2.
Okay.
A respectable 1.2.
I like to go 1.5.
Mm.
And then if a React pod is a win, I go 2.0. If it's a loss, I go about 2.5.
That's crazy though. Why
Yeah.
are you listening?
I just want to hear you like a
2.0 is too
chipmunk when
fast,
you're really
man.
mad.
No, this guy wants to hear me
You like
beat
the-
Twista and slow jams, man.
No, it's a great experience. Anyways.
This guy's Aisha Taylor saying, "I need you to go faster."
Oh God. Anyways, IG Ananobi
IG Ananobi, yes.
posted on Instagram for the first time in I believe around 2 years.
Mm.
Yesterday. This
Yeah.
seems like a continued push to get himself into the spotlight?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. So first off, I mean, I don't have Instagram, so I found this news out on Twitter. There's a whole economy of like aggregating Instagram posts for Twitter,
Okay.
which is actually really interesting to me. But yeah, so I saw this and I was like, ooh, OG posted. I wonder what he posted. It's a generic photo of himself.
Yeah, some game photos, right? I think there's like a slideshow of
I
3
thought it
game
was gonna be like
photos.
some content, but no.
Yeah.
Wow, Messi, that's tough.
But this is kind of like, you build up the mystique, and then when you show up once in a while, you get people to react. A lot of former teammates. It was like a Coachella of like former Raptors in the comment section, including DeLon Wright, Matt Thomas, DeJuan Hernandez.
Right.
I saw a mailman 24. I was like, who is this? It was Ish Wainwright.
Yeah. Ishmael.
Malcolm Miller,
The Ishmael man.
who I believe who I believe is playing in China at the moment. Don't know
Who?
why that's relevant. Malcolm Miller.
Malcolm Miller's in China?
Yeah.
So can we call him?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, not right now.
No, we're about to
It's
call him
3 in
on
the morning.
WeChat. I don't know if Opal works with WeChat.
Yo, actually, that's a good question.
No, Derek's gonna be
Oh,
calling
man.
him. It's gonna be wild, man.
Oh man, classic.
He's gonna get that DHL Express scam message
Classic.
on his phone.
Classic segment in the making. We're getting there. Yeah. Oh, what else, man? Yeah. Anyways, I did put in a request because I know there's a lot of buzz about OG Anunoby, and I think people
Yeah.
do want him to continue making this push. So you think this is a PR move?
Well,
Is what
okay,
you're saying?
This is kind of how some of these things work, right? Like, if you want to make a push for yourself, right? You can talk to the media and you can kind of make that push. But to be honest, like, who has more followers, right? Like OG Anunoby or Josh Lewenberg. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I know that's your GOAT, but like, come on, that's
Shouts-
not. There's levels to this,
Shouts
right?
to J-Lu, if I'm
So
allowed.
like
Yeah.
for OG, like, it's a lot easier for most athletes these days to get their own message out, spread their own propaganda. We saw even Pascal, right, coming back, right? We make the whole documentary series with
Red Bull?
Red Bull,
Yeah.
and it looked great and it was awesome, and it really helped to sort of continue to build and craft his brand and his narrative. Like, I think right now there's so much of athletes telling their own stories, right? And so you kind of do need some participation on their front. And this is OG saying to, or his agent or whoever, just telling him like, look, you got to like put the word out. You know what I mean? This reminds me of when we were at Yahoo and our boss at that time, Dan Tone, who's also here with us now, but DT sat me down one day and he's like, hey, Will, do you know Instagram? And I'm like, of course I know Instagram. He's like, so why don't you have it?
Oh, right.
Right? Why are you just on Twitter? Like, it's not going to be enough for you. Like, you can grow your career by sort of, branching out to these sort of things. And then that's ultimately why you run Will Lou Fitz now. Because
Yeah,
I still
everybody
said no.
follow Willu Fitz. I think we're approaching maybe 2,500 followers.
Damn.
Yeah. Still not reading your DMs. No catfish going on there. Yeah.
Okay.
Everything is good.
All right.
Anyways.
So yeah, this is what I'm. This is someone probably came to OG and said like, if you help yourself here.
Yeah. So,
This is easy stuff.
trying to get, hopefully at some point OG Anunoby will sit down with you for an interview.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And we know, OG is a different type of cat when it comes to interviews. I don't know if there's a better way to put that.
He's different.
Yeah,
Everyone knows what we're
he's
talking
definitely built different.
Yep.
So I thought we could just do some prep. I actually think you need some prep
I
to
do.
like hit someone. You've interviewed OG before, and you know how it is. So
Yes, I
like
do.
you need to get into the rhythm. So I pulled up some like icebreaker questions for you. You're like, Alex, you've been off for 2 days. What have you been cooking up?
This is what you've been cooking.
This is
up.
what I cooked up.
So this is a website.
Yeah, so we're just gonna do a quick kind of like couple minutes. Hit me up. I'm gonna be in OG mode, so you're gonna hit me up and interview me.
You know what this reminds me of?
get you
This
to
reminds me of deep in the pandemic.
Oh,
we
the running
were
back
down
thing
so
before.
bad for content when we were at Yahoo that we cosplayed
Yeah.
reporters in a press conference.
I really think you need the
So-
prep. I
So
really
you're,
think.
but at least this is a step up. You're cosplaying the players now. So
Yeah.
you're going to be OG.
Yeah.
I'm going to be preparing for this interview because everyone knows OG obviously gives short answers. So you need to prepare. Like, if I interview Fred, I probably need to prepare 7 questions for a 15-minute interview.
Yeah, I think the
right?
key here for you is like you
I might
gotta-
need 70.
No, you got to
for-
learn
for a
to ask
15-minute
like
interview.
follow up questions and try to like get him into a conversation.
Right.
So I think this is a challenge here because you're a great interviewer, but I'm always pushing you to be better.
Okay, follow up
Yeah.
questions. Right.
Yeah, or
Okay.
like see like how you can get him to like actually open up
Yeah,
because that's
fair.
why he's become a favorite of the other network and like we gotta
Yeah, well,
we gotta step it up on our end.
You're right. You're right. So these are icebreaker questions.
Yeah, let's go.
And you're going to be OG Anunoby.
Yeah, take
right?
this seriously as I am.
Okay, hey.
Yeah.
Okay, we're here with OG Anunoby at practice. OG, you're doing great this year. I just wanted to, get to know you a little bit better, get your personality out there, in addition to the fact that you're one of the leading candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. First question here, how many languages can you speak?
One.
Okay. What language is that?
English.
That's a follow-up question. You see that? Okay.
Yeah.
What's your middle name?
It's on Wiki.
No, I can't, man. This is gonna be so hard. Okay. What's your favorite strange food combination?
I usually eat pretty normal.
What kind of food though? Like what ethnicity of food?
Just depends.
What cuisine?
Just depends on what part of the city I'm in.
What's your favorite place?
Kind of where just my teammates like to go.
Where do they like to go?
Just different places around the arena.
Wow. Okay. Where did you grow up?
It's on the Wiki.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. What's your favorite hobby?
I play basketball for a living.
Besides basketball?
Just hang out.
Okay. If you could be anywhere
You're
in
not
the world
asking
right
good follow-ups right now, man. You're letting all these skate by. You know this is actually what's gonna happen though.
Oh, I know.
He's gonna give you like, the straight up down the middle answer.
I'm not even kidding. The last time I interviewed OG, I had a list of
but that's what I'm
50
saying.
questions.
You actually need this prep.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Oh, okay.
If you could be anywhere in the world right now, where would you be?
Scotiabank Arena.
Really?
Yeah.
What's your favorite thing about Scotiabank Arena?
I play basketball for a living.
Are you a listener or a talker? I'm not even kidding. This is a real question on here.
A little bit of both.
Yeah. What do you prefer to do?
Depends if I'm talking or not.
Damn, that really is something OG would say.
Yeah.
What's your last song?
I study
on
OG
Spotify?
interviews for a living, man. Last song, I'm not sure. I use Apple.
Okay. What's your last song on Apple Music?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Who's in your Apple Music festival?
Just kind of shuffle.
Okay. Did you have an iPod shuffle at any point?
I can't remember. Yeah.
Damn. Are you a backseat driver?
I don't understand the question.
No, like, when you're sitting in the back of a 2001 Honda Civic, do you try to give directions? Are you saying to the Uber driver, like, hey,
no,
take a left here?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Do you drive?
Not usually.
What about on the basketball court?
Yeah, I try.
Why do you travel on 1/5 of your drives?
All right, man. This is when PR steps in. I'm telling you though.
This is hard.
No, but
man.
I'm telling you though, like it's gonna. You need to get him to open up on something, right?
Yeah.
Because the 15 minutes is gonna be tough.
This can be tough.
And it's like very discouraging if you're getting the same type of responses, right?
You know what? I think I need to design questions that trap him into an answer where he can't say I don't know or it depends.
Yeah. But it's hard though because he can always find a way to get there. I mean, we'll see if the interview actually happens.
Well, I mean, first off, yeah, that's a big if. But no, I think it would be really cool. And honestly, last time I interviewed OG, it was actually really chill. Like I asked him things like, "Who are your top 3 hardest players to guard in the NBA?"
Yeah.
And he gave good answers to that. Obviously, it was KD and LeBron. And then the third guy he said was Bradley Beal, which I actually was a little surprised by.
All jokes aside, I think a lot of people, including reporters, want OG to share more and talk more about just basketball. Not even just like we like to ask them like fun things about their lives and stuff. But like, how often have we heard OG talk about just the craft?
Yeah.
Of defense
No,
and
you're
everything, right? And I'm sure
You're
you want to dive into that with him too.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk about the craft of defense.
Yeah.
What do you want to do when you retire?
I don't think that far. So
Why not?
anyways, that's it for that one. So
Man, that's tough. You did do a really good OG.
No, like
impersonation
I'm
for
just
interviews.
I'm just telling you, like it's gonna be a challenge. It's not gonna be like a Christian Coloco, Thad Young type situation.
Who's our backup option if PR says no to OG?
Everyone is our backup.
Oh,
We
anybody
basically
else?
roll in and say, please give us whoever.
No, we're about to get Ron Harper Jr. Man, I'm about to
That's
ask Ron
fine.
Harper
It's
Jr.
not a
what he's
problem.
going to do when
Shouts
he
to
retires.
JR Manatad, man. So the other thing, let's see what other hump day news items there are. The Raptors were recently asked to choose between Bobby Webster or Masai Ujiri in a 2-on-2 basketball game. And there were, mixed results. Some people picked Bobby. I think some people picked Masai because he's the boss man.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have a lot of evidence of the two of them hooping, like actually seeing it. It's all been anecdotal. I feel like you've seen Bobby hit a couple jumpers in a practice setting. Maybe
per sources, and I said this when I interviewed Bobby last year, but per sources, his range is Curry-esque.
Okay.
Yeah. Doesn't matter which one, Seth Curry, Del Curry, Steph Curry, one of those three, man. He's Curry-esque with the jumper. And then the one time I actually seen him shoot was we were at practice one day, and the team had wrapped up, and then the Raptors assistant staff or some just like Raptor staffers like to play a little team game sometimes. And so he was coming out warm up with the team game. He literally walked into the court, had to walk the length of the floor, and just kept doing the wraparound, with the ball around his waist, like Gilbert Arenas free throw style.
Yeah.
You know that? And then he stepped on the 3-point line and immediately switched to a 3.
Okay.
So
there is some game there.
He's 1 for 1 in my eyes.
Man, that'd be sick, man. Like you and Bobby versus me and Masai. First of all, I'll be holding the door.
Brother.
First of all, I'll be grabbing water from Masai and holding the door for him.
Here's a screen assist for you, sir.
Oh, God. Maybe we could set that up for charity, man.
But Masai actually played pro ball, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is correct.
But it was in Denmark or something.
yeah, I think I would go with Bobby.
I think I'd probably go with
Yeah, I
Bobby,
think
too.
I'd
I'm
go
not
with
going to
Bobby,
lie to you, man. Bobby can hoop.
Well, Bobby's another person. I know, he's a friend of the program.
Oh, yeah. He told me, by the way, that he's coming on the pod a little bit later in the season. A
Oh,
few
yeah?
times,
He
but,
made the promise?
It's not right now. Yeah.
Okay, we're holding him to it.
Well, no, we're holding to him.
We
Yeah.
need Bobby Webster banter pod, man. No? You
I
don't
mean,
think
that's
so?
the thing is, I think I'm too broke for that conversation. You guys need to talk about
Yeah.
generational wealth because that's sort of
Yeah,
where
I
it's
think
at,
that'd be cool, man.
Because
Yeah,
Bobby,
Jared
has,
Manitow
Bobby
was
has
trying
the Crazy Rich Asians vibe of I'm chill, I'm handsome, I have tons of money. It's different. It's a different class.
Rich versus rich isn't the best conversation sometimes, though.
Mm.
But anyways.
Okay.
And now it's time for Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. The Toronto Raptors are in New Orleans tonight to take on the Pelicans. CJ McCollum and Brendan Ingram are out for New Orleans.
That's big.
For the Toronto Raptors, it's really just the long-term injuries right now with Otto Porter and Precious. Otherwise, the injury report is pretty clear. Raptors coming off an impressive win over Cleveland, facing a shorthanded Pelicans team on the road. A team that I feel like Pascal Siakam's always had success against.
Yeah, I mean he's
So
set
Raptors are
his
minus.
career high
So
against
Raptors
them
are
before.
minus 2.5 favorites tonight on the road.
Yeah,
How do
I
you
mean,
feel, Will?
I think recently they've struggled. Right, last season they went to New Orleans and they got beat by 20 or something.
Yeah,
like
that was a 5 things night.
That was a 5 things night. I think I might have invented 5 things that night, actually. That's the night it was
That's
born.
the reverse buy one, get one.
The thing with New Orleans is they have a lot of strong guys down low, right?
Okay.
It's really hard to handle that for the Raptors.
Sure.
Obviously Embiid is still one matchup you know about, but and this is to a lesser degree, but we'll see what happens with JV, right? JV might put up a 20-20 against the Raptors if he plays long enough in this game. We'll see what happens with Zion. Zion hasn't really had a huge game against the Raptors. And by the way, depending on how the Raptors want to match up, but most likely they'll put OG on Zion. If OG wants to continue that Defensive Player of the Year, campaign, besides putting up, Getty Images photos on Instagram, put Zion Williamson on a Stat Muse poster. You know what I mean? Hold Zion to 10 points or something.
All right.
Because it's easier to build propaganda off of that.
Yeah. So
right?
this is the DPOI challenge for him.
Yeah.
Depoy.
That's every game. Every game's a Depoy challenge.
We need a better name.
Yeah, I agree with you. That one's terrible.
We'll workshop
Yeah, I mean
that.
Herb Jones, is going to give Pascal some issues defensively, but who knows? I mean, the way Pascal's playing right now, it's
No, at this point, I'm not worried about whoever's matched up on
The only thing I'm a
Pascal.
little worried about is the Raptors' poor road form, man. They're just not good away from home this season.
Well, the roster's starting to become full again.
Okay,
So let's see
all
that.
right.
I'm looking at the schedule. I feel like a win streak here is coming. So they've won their last 2. Got New Orleans tonight, Brooklyn on Friday, and then they have 3 games at home: Orlando, Boston, and the Lakers. I mean, Boston's going to be the big one. I'm really interested in that one, but
Yeah.
I can see a win streak coming.
Hey, listen, if a win streak comes at this point in the season with that schedule, I think we would be very excited, and you get ready for another week of Raptor shows where we do propaganda pods.
Yeah, and so the pick, I'm gonna make the pick here. I'm gonna go with Raptors. Take Raptors minus 2.5. That's a favorite to win on the road. I know you've been
It's
really
a little
proud
dicey,
of.
man. No,
Yeah?
I'm just a little dicey on that one, but
Okay.
because New Orleans does have depth as well.
Okay.
But I think I probably will
No,
lean
let's go.
Raptors as well.
Let's go with the Raptors
I'm not super confident in this one.
over the Pelicans. That
Okay.
was Between the Lines, brought to you by Bet Rivers. It's a whole new game. So we'll be back tomorrow to recap the game.
Yep.
And then we'll review Fred VanVleet's appearance on How Hungry Are You? Some interesting comments there. I know
If you
can-
haven't watched already, go on YouTube, go on Sportsnet,
Sportsnet,
watch it.
check it
because
out.
It's amazing.
It's been a great season.
It feels like Serge is back on the team.
Yeah.
Whenever he does.
It's been a great
How Hungry Are
season.
You?
Happy hump day, everybody.
Happy hump day. That does it for us today. I'm your host, Willu. You've been listening to The Raptors Show on the Sportsnet Radio Network. Make sure you find The Raptors Show wherever you listen to podcasts and subscribe. And please rate and review. Thanks again to producer and co-host Alex Wong. Thanks to Mo Dakhil. Thanks to our board producer, Derek Brandeo. And Frank Baraska for helping with the YouTube stream. We'll be back to talk to you tomorrow.